here in the heartland. This is the working man. These are the fields of dreams of American. No, you can't take that away, 'cause I wanna stay here in the heartland. I'm here in the heartland.
Today we're going to talk to you about the many European influences on Iowa. Iowa was first explored by the French, and in 1673, Father Marquette and Louis Joliet made their way from the Great Lakes to the mouth of the Wisconsin River where it flows into the Mississippi, present-day Pikes Peak, McGregor, Iowa. And this is where they first set foot on the land that would become Iowa. And nearly 9 years later, in 1682, French explorer La Salle would make his way in the lower Mississippi Valley, and upon reaching the Gulf of Mexico, French explorer La Salle would proclaim all the land the Mississippi drained into as part of France. Calling this region Louisiana to honor King Louis XIV, the Louisiana claim came under French control. England, having already colonized the eastern United States, did not really feel good about this claim that the French had made to the land west of the Mississippi River, and particularly west of the Appalachian Mountains. So tension began to rise between the two, and soon we would see war break out. The 7 Years' War, also known as the French and Indian War, would start in 1756. Towards the end of it, when it was obvious that the English were winning, the French decided they were concerned about the English getting the full claim of the Louisiana claim. So they secretly gave the land to Spain. But soon England would have bigger issues to deal with, that being the Declaration of Independence from the American colonies in 1776. And at the conclusion of the American Revolution, we would see the United States of America, an independent nation formed in North America. Following the American Revolution, the French would soon have their own revolution. And in 1789, the French Revolution began, ending with Napoleon coming to power in 1799. Now, one of the things Napoleon did soon after coming into power was forcing Spain to give back the Louisiana claim. So now we see this territory having gone from French control to Spanish control, and now back to French control again. As the United States began to develop and prosper, and we began to push further past the Appalachians, President Jefferson wasn't really concerned about the land west of the Mississippi. He was more so concerned about trading rights and shipping rights on the Mississippi River itself. So President Jefferson decided to send 2 diplomats to France and to negotiate with Napoleon about the possibility of purchasing New Orleans for up to $10 million. Now, timing is everything, and the timing was perfect for the United States because we were soon about ready to make the greatest land acquisition in our history. Now, Napoleon's vision of this French settlement in the United States and the Louisiana claim was soon to be derailed by the Haitian revolt led by Toussaint L'Ouverture in Haiti. They would successfully overthrow the French, and with Napoleon facing economic decline, he was looking to make a deal. And so when the 2 diplomats from the United States come over offering money to purchase New Orleans, Napoleon seizes the opportunity and says, hey, how about buying the whole Louisiana claim for $15 million? The United States' timing was right, and we doubled the size of our country with the Louisiana Purchase of 1803. So in 1804, the Corps Discovery, led by Lewis and Clark, made their way up the Missouri River, and the land that was to become Iowa was starting to take shape. Native Americans knew the wealth of this land, Europeans saw the potential within this land, and Iowa would soon become the breadbasket of the world. As a reminder to all our visitors, all Iowa students have free admission to the Iowa Hall of Pride thanks to Musco Lighting.
We're a rural state with rural communities, and I think in our small schools we still have tremendous work ethic. Not only is it created at home by the parents, but also in our schools. I think our football coaches do a great job. I think with the way sportsmanship is emphasized by our high school athletic association in Iowa, our coaches have picked up that baton and carried that over. I think we stress sportsmanship. I think we stress to our kids to be the very best you can be with the God-given talent you have. You know, and our job is not to create college athletes or professional athletes. Our job is to help our young people become the very best they can be.
Backbone State Park was dedicated in 1920. It was Iowa's first state park, named for its narrow and steep ridge of bedrock carved by a loop of the Maquoketa River. Folklore named the high ridge of rock the Devil's Backbone. Nearly 100 years ago, state geologist Samuel Calvin wrote these words about the backbone. Its sides are in places precipitous, the rocky cliffs rising sheer for more than 80 feet. Erosion and secular clay have carved the rocks into picturesque columns, towers, castles, battlements, and flying buttresses. Backbone consists of over 2,000 acres and is heavily wooded with predominantly oak and maple. The woodland serves as a valuable refuge for a variety of wildlife, including deer, raccoon, fox, turkeys, ruffed grouse, and many species of songbirds. Backbone is well known for trout fishing in its cold, clear, quick-flowing streams. Richmond Springs, the source that feeds the stream, pumps out over 2,000 gallons per minute and is located near the north end of the park. The Civilian Conservation Corps was established in April 1933 as part of the New Deal program of President Roosevelt as an effort to provide work for unemployed Americans during the Great Depression. Many of Backbone's buildings were constructed by the CCC from 1933 to 1941. Backbone has over 21 miles of hiking and multi-use trails. Visitors can hike along the trails winding through the old twisted windblown cedars and up rough rocky staircase to one of the highest points in northeast Iowa, the Devil's Backbone. Many activities can be done at Backbone State Park, ranging from picnicking and shelters to 2 modern cabins that can be rented, camping, and several lake activities, swimming, boating, and fishing. There are also many challenging cliffs and rugged dolomite limestone throughout the park that climbers and rappellers will find very challenging. But remember, all climbers and rappellers must register at the park office. Backbone State Park is located 3 miles south of Strawberry Point in northwestern Delaware County. Dundee lies 1 mile to the south and Lamont 5 miles to the west. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Why Iowa. We also want to thank Boz Prints for letting us utilize some of their images of state parks on our featured piece on Backbone State Park. And you can also find a lot of other great prints at Boz Prints, including this t-shirt. So when it comes to celebrating Iowa, don't forget the Iowa Hall Pride gift shop, but also check out Boz Prints in Valley Junction.